What's going on, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to show you how and where to get the most fire vintage tees. But before I do that, if you are not subscribed already, I highly encourage you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Anyway, let's go ahead and get into this video. Now, vintage tees are an amazing thing to have in your closet. The way they feel, the way they look, it's just you really can't get anything like it. So there's a couple places you can get vintage tees. I'm going to go from like the lowest price point to the highest. So there's a couple places you can go for this. You can go to the thrift store, you can go to Depop, eBay, and some online shops. We're gonna get into all of them and how I like to search for them. So let's get into it. So the cheapest place you can really go, now this is like cheaper than the thrift store, is a flea market. Now, if you don't know what a flea market is, it's basically a place where a whole bunch of sellers get together and they sell their unwanted goods. Only down part is that it's not just solely dedicated to clothing. They have just a bunch of bizarre things. You would also really have to dig deep to find some t-shirts. Like when I go, there's usually like a big pile of clothing. There's no say of what's vintage and what's not. You just really have to sort through and see what you can find. Now, if you go with the flea market, they're usually only open on the weekends. If you do go, I recommend you go super early in the morning, like as soon as they open. Make sure you have some gloves with you because you don't want to be touching some random stuff, some like disgusting things. You have no idea what I've seen. So just make sure you have gloves with you just so you can just sift through everything nice and quick without worrying about touching anything dirty. Now, the amazing thing about the flea market is that everything is really cheap, especially clothing. People really don't know the value of what they have. Now, last time I went, they charged me based on what I got. So if I got 3 t-shirts, they charged me $3. And that's like a super steal. Now, I don't have the t-shirt that I got there with me because I sold it. I found like this old vintage Elton John tee. It was super dope, but it was like an extra large and there's no way I was fitting that. So I went ahead and flipped it. I only paid $1 for it and I sold it for 80 bucks. So it's a good come up. So definitely just look up some local flea markets around your area and I'm sure you can find some dope stuff. You just have to look around. Now, next up, another cheap option and one that probably everyone already knows is the thrift store. Now, you have Goodwill and Salvation Army. You also have a bunch of other ones, but those are the 2 most popular ones. Now, thrift stores are tricky because they can be hot and cold. One day I'll go in there and find a bunch of dope pieces, and then I go the next week and there's absolutely nothing. Another bad thing about the thrift store is that they tax the hell out of the pieces. Last thing I saw there was like a Tommy Hilfiger jacket. They wanted like 20 bucks for it. Like, that's ridiculous for a thrift store. To be honest, the piece wasn't even worth 20 bucks. Like, it was maybe worth like, I'd say $10 just based on the condition it was in. But thrift stores aren't totally negative. There is some positives to it. Like my most recent pickup from the thrift store was this Sublime tee. It was in really good condition. It only has like a little hole on the front, but I can cover it up if I wanted to. I just don't feel like it. It's a really dope tee. A little big, but I'll take the oversized fit. I don't mind. The good thing about that is I only paid like 3 bucks for it, so not too bad at all. There's a bunch of stuff that I get from the thrift store. It's not only vintage tees. Like I get a bunch of Nike, Polo, Tommy, but for the most part, I just flip that stuff. The vintage tees is what I really tend to keep. If you are going to a thrift store, I definitely recommend you go super early in the morning if you can. Like as soon as they open. Like mine opens at 9 o'clock, I think. So I'm there at 9. Because if you see someone dressed kind of like you, you know what they're looking for, and if they got first dibs, they're taking all the dope stuff. Now, if it's like an old dude, I wouldn't really worry about that because I'm sure you guys are looking for completely different things. So those are the physical locations you can go to. Now let's go to the online shops and apps. Now, one app that I'm constantly on is Depop. Depop is like a place you can buy and sell clothing or really anything you want, but there's still a lot of clothing on there. I actually sell on Depop all the stuff that I don't wear anymore. I have it on my Depop, so I'll have the link to that in the description below if you want to check it out. And if you're a subscriber, best believe I'm going to hook you up with a deal. So if you don't have the app, download it. I'll have my link to my Depop in the description below again. So I've gotten a couple things off Depop so far. One of my favorites is this Shaquille O'Neal Magic t-shirt. Has that dope vintage fade, and it also has that nice boxy fit. I really love the graphic on this t-shirt, the front and the back, and I think I paid like 20 shipped. So it's not bad at all. Another one of my favorite t-shirts that I got from Depop is this vintage Sin and Crazy t-shirt. I'm sorry, Sick and Crazy. Now, I don't really know what Sick and Crazy is. I just really like the design. On the front, you have the flaming playing cards. And on the back, you have the same design. It's just much bigger. Really love how both of these tees fit. The fade is really nice as well. And that's what's really special about vintage tees. So I'm gonna open my app up and show you guys how I like to look for vintage tees. So basically you have the home page. I'm already following a bunch of people and there's a bunch of Supreme already on there. Anyway, you go to the search bar. Here's my recent searches and you search up vintage tee. Then you wanna go to filter, category, menswear, all. You can just select all, it doesn't really matter. Size, you can go for your size. I like to go for a medium. Brand, you don't really have to put in a brand, and for price, that really depends on your budget. I usually keep it on any because I mean I don't really see anything too expensive on here. So as you can see, you can just look down, scroll, Now, people like to tag their t-shirts as vintage, but it'll be like Bape or Supreme or something. So just ignore that and look for the vintage. So if you scroll down, here's one I really like. I actually like this one already. This is a Shania Twain t-shirt for 28 bucks. It's an Anvil size medium. 2003 Shania Twain Up Tour tee. So honestly, not a bad price at all. And it says here, prices are negotiable. So if you don't want to pay $28, you can surely talk them down. And when you see something pop up like this, you can go to their page. 9 times out of 10, they're gonna have a bunch of different vintage stuff. So here you have like a Harley Davidson vintage long sleeve, which is pretty cool. 90 bucks, kind of expensive though. You can scroll down. You can do that with a bunch of people. Like, let's show you again. So you can keep scrolling and find like another seller. Like, let's find another vintage tee. Like this dope Metallica tee. I really like this one, but I don't really wear Metallica t-shirts like that anymore. This is actually really dope. I might, I'll like it just to, you know, look at it later. But you can go to his profile and see if he has any other vintage tees. Like this one is pretty cool as well. I don't really know what this is, but I mean, it's pretty cool. Anyway, you get it. I mean, just keep doing that over and over. Like some stuff and you'll find sellers. Also, don't be afraid to negotiate with the seller. 9 times out of 10, they just want the item gone. So if you give them a nice offer, they'll probably take it. Also, you can sell your old stuff on there and use that money to buy a vintage t-shirt. So Depop, I highly recommend. You know, just download an app, create a profile, do all that. Also follow me, you might as well. Now, another good place to go, which you probably already know, is eBay. Now, eBay is kind of tricky, so I'm gonna show you guys what I put in the filters, just so you can get the best results. All right, so in the eBay app, type in vintage t-shirt, search. Now you wanna go into filter. Filter out the stuff you want, so size, you can put in a medium, I mean, whatever size you are. Then you wanna go to color. 9 times out of 10, I like to go with black, so that's what we're gonna put in. Then you also wanna go to, where is it? Condition, where's that at? Can't find it. Right here. Pre-owned or not specified. Best options to go with. And then click done. So all the filters, make sure you put in your color, your size, and most importantly, pre-owned and not specified. Because sometimes they'll just have new t-shirts on there and it's not worth the time. So here are your search results. You can just scroll down, see something you like. Like, look at this vintage Van Halen concert tee. It looks pretty dope. I don't know how vintage it is, but for $9.50 plus $4 shipping, that's not too bad, honestly. And you can scroll and scroll, find something you like. This vintage U2 t-shirt has a nice fade to it. 80s, it's from the 80s, so that's pretty cool. I might actually, you know what? I'm gonna watch this. Might be a potential pickup. So anyway, that's really what I do for eBay. Next up, you have online shops. Now, there is a bunch of online vintage shops out there. Now, best online vintage shop I would go to is Burned Out UK. These guys have the most fire vintage t-shirts. So here's the website. I mean, it's a really nice website. Better to burn out than to fade away. As you know, vintage tees have the most vicious fades. But as you can see, some of the stuff does sell out because they only have one of them. But as you can see, they can range from like $100 to like almost 200. I mean, just look at this vintage Marilyn Manson tee that they have. Like, this thing is absolutely crazy. It's a giant tee. The back is nice as well. Like, that thing is super nice. For the price, it's what you'd expect to pay for something like this. But there's also some cheaper options. You can just go to price low to high and see what they have. Now, I don't know what this is, like a Judge Dredd 1995. Don't really know what this is, probably like a movie or something. And for the price, I mean, it's not too bad at all. Let's see what else they have. They have Titanic tee. They also have hats. I mean, just look at this John Lennon t-shirt. Super nice. I mean, it's a size extra large, so too big for me. So I just highly recommend you check out these options that I just showed you guys. I mean, say you want that Marilyn Manson t-shirt, go to the flea markets, go to the thrift store, find some dope stuff and flip it, make enough money, then you can buy the Marilyn Manson tee. So that's all I got for you today. Let me know what your best vintage find was. Write down in the comments below. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, do all that YouTuber stuff. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.
On my neck, flawless begins. Hop off a jet, barely get rich. Cash to the mud, I get a check. You selling rum on my vest and my chest.